Guys, it is time to introduce to you new car number one coming to the channel. This thing is just shy of 800 horsepower, on 85, supercharged, and frankly, this car I am hoping is going to allow us to attend a lot more events that we can meet you guys, because frankly, I know probably a lot of you already go to these events. Guys, we have got an LSA supercharged retired P71 Crown Vic Burnout car for the Cleetus and Cars events. And I am frankly pumped to be showing you guys this thing. So little rundown here real quick on this thing. This is a car that we got out of Nag's Head. And again, retired P71 detective car, had the nice interior in it. And what we've been doing over the last couple months, frankly, has been gathering parts. Our goal for this thing is not to spend a tremendous amount of money. I'm not going to exactly call it a budget build where we're going to be doing it as cheap as possible, but I do want to spend an X amount of money in certain areas just to make sure that this thing is safe, but also makes a lot of power. So what we've got going on here right now, this is actually our mock-up LS motor. But this is an LSA blower that we're going to be using. We are going to be running this motor on 85, and we are currently working on getting a long block for this thing. I'm hoping we can either get a 6.0 or a 6.2 motor. That is my game plan, because guys, I do want to be able to make quite a bit of torque to pop some back tires. But probably what we'll do to start off with is just do like a stock long block with cam and springs. We're going to pulley this thing down, make some pretty good boost on E, and have some fun with it. So we've definitely been hard at work on this thing already. So of course, we've already got the whole car completely stripped down. We've been doing that, you know, kind of on our off nights when we haven't been working on other stuff, trying to get this thing ready. We have went ahead and we've already started mounting the motor. So what we've got here, guys, there's a lot of different ways you can put an LS in a Crown Vic. There's some very inexpensive ways. We decided to go ahead and spend a little bit of money and get a nice mount. So these are made by Outcast, and this adapts an LS motor directly to your Crown Vic aluminum K-member. These mounts do come with the polyurethane bushing to actually go in between here, but we're going to do things a little bit different here. We're actually going to mount this motor solid, and we're dropping it down to kind of get a lower center of gravity on this thing. So there's kind of a reason why we're going about it this way. And then also we are doing a custom mid plate. So basically what we'll have here is this mid plate. We'll have some brackets that will be welded to the chassis that will mount that motor nice and solid so it does not go anywhere. In terms of the transmission cross member, what we're going to do, we're just going to go ahead and modify the factory cross member. And as far as transmissions go, we are actually having a really nice Turbo 400 built for this thing. So that is one of the areas that I do want to spend a little bit of money on, just to probably more for safety than anything. You know, doing a burnout for 2 minutes straight. Want to make sure we do everything in our power to make sure that that transmission does not come apart with my feet right beside it. So that is some of the things that we're going to be doing in terms of driveline there. We'll probably put a PST drive shaft in this thing. Guys, you know we like our stuff to look good here. So we picked up, and frankly, I hope maybe you guys can kind of tell me what these are off of. I picked these up off of Facebook Marketplace. I assume it's some sort of like Mustang Cobra wheel. Don't know exactly what year that is, but we were able to pick up 2 of these things. I like my 5-star aluminum rims, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to run these on the front. I've got a brand new set of Nitto tires that we are going to be putting on the front, just so this thing does handle pretty good. And then, of course, we'll be putting some cheap tires on the back when we do the burnout competition. So with Cleetus and Cars, you can basically run whatever rim you want to on the front, but on the back, you have to run a steel wheel. Obviously, when these tires come apart, we got to make sure that the rim stays intact. So I've got a bunch of these P71 17-inch rims. We'll probably just go ahead and get those rims powder coated. That way they look nice. And then run, of course, you know, these on the front here. So couple other things that we're going to be doing up front. Obviously, we need to manage the cooling. That is super important on these cars. So what we've actually got, I was able to find a NASCAR Super Speedway C&R radiator to put in this thing that's also got a built-in oil cooler. So this radiator is like 5 or 6 inches thick. It's pretty beefy, and obviously C&R makes a top-of-the-line radiator. So We're going to be having a nice radiator in there for that, built-in oil cooler. And then, of course, we're going to be putting a real nice transmission cooler in this thing as well. So with a 2-minute burnout straight, got to manage the heat. Super, super important. So we want to go ahead and do a couple things right off the bat to make sure that we are just kind of going about it the right way. You know, we want to make sure that this is actually a really nice car. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing there. Not sure if I'm going to be running a front end on this thing or not. May just do some roll cage tubing just to kind of make this thing look a little bit different. Crown Vics are what they are. They're not exactly the most eye-appealing thing. So probably going to be changing this thing up just a little bit. You know, it's still going to be a Crown Vic at heart, but, you know, maybe be doing a couple things just to kind of change it up a little bit. So in terms of the inside, guys, so obviously we've stripped all the interior out of this thing. Reason being, if we ever do have a tire fire or something like that, want to try and get rid of as much flammable stuff as possible. So we're, you know, we're not running any door panels or anything like that. And then we're going to go ahead, we'll put a racing wheel in this thing, and I'll probably make a newer steering column just to get rid of all this factory, you know, dash and steering column support stuff. Just so something that looks a little bit nicer. We are trying to use as many old parts that we have laying around as possible on this thing. So things like a 3-speed shifter, I've got one that's been laying around. We're going to put that in here. I've got some real nice aluminum racing seats that we've just had. Those are going to be going in here. We're going to, of course, put some 5-point harnesses in here. And then also, I'm going to be doing probably like a 6-point cage or something like that. So again, want to try and incorporate as much safety as we can while we're having fun at the same time. Power in the LSA, we are going to be doing a Holley Terminator X. Again, this is something that we've had. I want to try and use as much stuff as possible, and obviously, Holley makes a super good product. So we are going to be operating the engine off of that. Guys, I don't know what else I can kind of tell you for right now, but we've been doing a lot of work on this thing, stripping it down. Everything underneath that, you know, basically could be gone is, and then what we did kind of underneath here, we have been doing a little bit of rear end work already. So we went ahead, we pulled the posi unit out, welded her up, did the old Lincoln locker, put some fresh Redline diff oil in it, and then put that girdle in this thing. These things do come factory with 8.8 rear ends, so hopefully that'll you know, not completely explode on the very first rip with this thing. Should be all right though. So that's kind of what we've got there, guys. We are collecting parts right now. Obviously, a supercharged LS setup isn't exactly the most budget-friendly or cheap thing, but we are looking to make some pretty decent power. And frankly, guys, I've got some even bigger goals for this thing past this here. So as cool as an LSA setup is, this is a very, very, very long-term project, but hopefully at some point it'll happen. I would love to put a, like, legit blown big block Chevy in this thing, like, you know, 1071, 1471 blower. So that's probably for another day, but in the meantime, I'm thinking that the LS should work pretty good on this thing. Should make a lot of power. We are going to be doing some zoomy headers, so probably what we'll do is we'll kind of come out, go up underneath the frame, and do some nice, four zoomy pipes kind of coming out here. I want it to look good. That's look good, sound good. That's kind of what I'm after. And then we'll probably even wrap this thing too with some Coastal Racecraft stuff on there. So anyway, guys, drop a comment. Tell me what you think. We are going to be doing a lot of Cleetus and Cars burnout events with this car. So hopefully this is going to give us a good opportunity to meet a lot of you guys. We did go to Bristol here 9-10 days ago. And frankly, I was blown away with the level of competition and then attendance. There was a ton of people there. So I've had a lot of people tell me that I need to jump into this burnout car arena. It's a lot of fun. So guys, this is going to be our entry point on this thing. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we're going to be building a good piece. And from what I have seen, actually handling is quite an important part of a burnout car. And these Crown Vics seem to handle very, very well. Obviously, Cleetus with neighbor. Most of that's probably driver. But obviously, that thing handles really good on the burnout pad. And there is a couple other Crown Vics out there as well that frankly seem to do really good. So that is going to be Our car number 1 we're going to be introducing to you guys. Do not worry. I know a lot of you guys are here for the drag racing as well, and I have not forgot about that. That is, frankly, the heart of what I love. So car number 2 will be getting introduced pretty soon, and that will be our dedicated drag car. But in the meantime, guys, hopefully we can get this thing running pretty good. We'll probably focus maybe a little bit more on the drag car over the winter, but in between, we're also going to be working on this thing back and forth. So, as always, guys, we appreciate it. Hope you guys are excited about this as we are, because, frankly, this is going to be a certified ripper. And who knows, maybe we'll even take it to the drag strip and see what it'll do. I think it'd probably run 9s, frankly. We'll see. We'll catch y'all in the next one.